basically an introduction to the class and about the assignments. And do you have any questions so far?
Yes, I did, but about Canvas, yes, I think everything's going good. Yes, I'm able to see everything, discuss everything about with other people and able to answer the questions that you gave us for our assignments.
Good.
Yeah, and I do have a question for one of our assignments.
Okay.
And yes, I think it's, let me check. I think it's August the 25th assignment about,
Yes. Uh-huh.
yeah,
I'll
that
go
one.
ahead and share my screen with you. And hi, Bonnie. How are you?
Hello, good. How are you?
Good. Yeah. So that assignment, I know another student asked me about it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just go with the module. And that one, what? So you read the article "How to Read Like a Writer" by Mike Bunn,
Mm-hmm.
and I also would like you to include just an example of a media source. You could, just I know one student, she just basically brought in a title of she actually used the example of To Kill a Mockingbird, the book and the film, and so she just brought I think she might have brought and one of them brought in an article title. Um, and if you're just unable to find a media source, I believe another student brought in a movie, Twisters. That might have been another assignment, but I do know that one student did actually bring in, a book, To Kill a Mockingbird is referenced, or just like an article. Um, if you can find an article, like even a blog title of a blog, and just kind of connect it to the prompt. And yeah, if you don't cite that one exactly, that's okay, but you do need to make sure you cite from the mic button. So I'm gonna find that assignment here. It's next week. Yeah, this one right here. So this is the article by Mike Bunn, and so you do need to make sure to cite. Well, what I have here is actually, let's see, what did I do with this article here? So give an example of a claim. Okay, author. Okay. Okay, so basically, like, and if you don't follow it in this order, it's okay. I try to kind of go step by step, and even the papers, because we'll do outlines of the papers and everything. If we have four main papers, I try my best to give you an outline or know exactly what to do for each, sentence or so, like how you should organize it. But so basically with this would be to focus on um, multimodal literacy and give an example. And all you have to do is you could write even the title of the article or the source as your citation here, and then explain how it ties into Mike Bunn's article. Um, I know the students that have already turned this in, they have cited the Mike Bunn, and most have given like an example of either like To Kill a Mockingbird or like a film or I know one student, he gave some illustrations like from like types of blogs and things, but it's best if you could at least, bring in either an image that connects to media or a book or an article, preferably an article, maybe an article title of a blog, or it could be a picture. You could explain how the picture ties in if you know the title of the source where you got it from, anything like that, and that's all that you have to do for that particular one. And like I said, if you do, and I know with one student, I think he was struggling to find just an outside source, so he gave some examples and like types of blogs and things like that. And that's okay too, but if you can find an outside source, um that is, what would be best. Like for the blog, for the discussions, how you're finding images and things like that that kind of explain. I know for the discussion for this week, there's one on literacy in the 21st century, and you can find a picture that connects. So you can even do that with this particular assignment. And then you just explain how Bunn's article can be tie into how this is an illustration, and you just talk about what Bunn says. So when you bring in Mike Bunn, you would say, according to Mike Bunn and how to read like a writer, and then you quote from the text. So you would go to the source and then, well, that's not good. The link is not found. Were you able to find Mike Bunn's article? I know I put it in another place, so I might need to change the link here.
Yes,
I know I found it. I put it in the modules. Let me go ahead and change that out too, because I don't want it not working here. Were you able to find his article?
yes, I was able to find this article through the modules, I think, because
Hmm.
when I click on the link, it didn't work. So I looked through to see if there was a different link that worked, led to the book, and it did. So I was able
Okay.
to find that.
So is this one? This is one because I just made this. I thought that this is this one not working? Oh, that this one did, but that one doesn't. Okay. All right. So what I'll
Yeah.
do is I will copy this one and I'll go ahead and fix that. Does that make sense? Or do you have any other questions, or is there anything else I can do to help explain the assignment?
No, no, that's it. Because like when I first read the assignment, I was kind of confusing at first because it was a lot of details that I need to put in because all the citing, all the rewording. So I was kind of confused on what I should mostly focus on doing. So I just want to ask you like what I do like a more deep meaning into it, basically.
Right. Yeah. Mainly focus on, connecting Mike Bunn's article to, the image. It could be a film, it could even be a song, or an article, like a title of a blog. If you like to read blogs or podcasts, you could bring in a title of, because I know one student, I believe, brought in a title of a podcast. So you could, bring anything like that in to explain, and I'm gonna go ahead and update the link. So thank you for letting me know that the link there wasn't quite working. How are y'all
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, you're very much welcome.
Thank you for, yeah, thank you, and I hope that helps answer your question.
It did, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, now this it took the link off of here. Let me see. Um, well, that's strange. Maybe hi to those that just logged in. How are y'all doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Do y'all have any questions so far about the class or the assignments?
I do not at the moment. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't
So
either.
did y'all start with the start here and everything, and look through the start here and take the quiz?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So what we'll do is I'm gonna just first kind of go over the schedule, and if you go under syllabus, I realized when this class was published that I don't think that the syllabus, like when this little icon here, I don't even think it was actually available for you to click on, but I do have I put the syllabus and also the tentative course calendar. So basically that with English 101, that there are four main writing assignments that we'll focus on. Um, but we have, weekly discussions or quizzes, and also sometimes paragraph assignments, things like that, are little mini projects. And for each of the four main papers that we have an outline, and I like try to be as thorough as possible to kind of help walk you through how to structure your papers and everything so you don't have questions. For the research paper, I just kind of developed a paragraph kind of explaining how you could structure the research paper. And then there's obviously a lot of information about just how to write a paper in MLA format as well. But we'll spend several weeks on the research paper. And for this class, that there's no actual book that you have to buy for this class, that the only required reading is from writingspaces.org. And in the modules under learn each week that I post the lesson that has the PowerPoints in it and assignments. I put all the links to the assignments, and also if we are doing a discussion with a video, I'll post that as well. And then some of the quizzes also, I base them off videos. You watch the video and that helps you understand what we're studying that week. And then the questions come from the video. I feel like that's a pretty good way to maybe learn in more detail too, and kind of just reinforce that. And for the quizzes in this class, you can take them as many times as you need. Um, I did you just make this class in the last month or so, and so I probably will have to go if a quiz does not allow you to take it again and you need to take it, just let me know and I will fix it because I'm not sure if all of the quizzes I did click on multiple attempts, so I will be going through that each week. And then I did realize when the class started that I had to kind of unlock the discussion so you could respond to your peers for the discussion. So if you're ever not able to respond to a peer, just let me know and I'll go in and fix that because for some reason it was I think I had it clicked where you just replied to the prompt and you couldn't respond to others' posts and things like that. And so that with the goals of the discussion is it helps connect the reading to other aspects of our world today and media. So the theme here is media in connection to rhetoric and design. So we're really focusing on media and also popular culture will be a pretty big theme too in the class, and still tying it into academia. So a lot of the videos explain, why well, a lot of academics don't think popular culture is that, relevant, but it can be seen as relevant. And it ties a lot into literature when you think of all the influences that even classic literature, I mean, there's even have you ever heard of the Epic of Gilgamesh? There's even articles on the Epic of Gilgamesh in popular culture. So even the really ancient classics or just the classics, for instance, like Jane Austen's novel, Pride and Prejudice, that I know they turned that into some sort of popular culture film as well. And I think it's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies or something like that. But you see that it still influence those works still influence our culture, and there is it is relevant, and so we're connecting all this to our study of rhetoric um writing. So all the components of writing an essay and different genres of writing with strong emphasis on rhetoric, which study the study of communication. Rhetoric can be spoken or written communication, and even just seeing with any 101 class, you would be looking at how rhetorical appeals are used. Logos, logic, ethos, ethics, and pathos, emotions, how we see rhetoric every day in our world. So just making the theme of the class about media and popular culture and connection to rhetoric. Um, I was hoping that that you could kind of see how it's actually around us. It's not just old and outdated; that it is actually relevant in our world today. Um, and so we'll have outlines for the four main papers, and then you'll have you turn in your first draft, and there'll be a peer revision. I'm probably going to add, there's actually a tutor.com. If you click on, there should be a tab for the tutor.com. Yeah. So what I'll do is, this is a totally free service. The chair of the department let us know that this is a service that can be used, and I'll probably just add some questions if you want to submit your paper to tutor.com, and as an opportunity for some extra credit. But the peer review, there'll be a worksheet, and the Canvas should assign you partners, and I'll just see how this goes. If there's any issue with that, then I'll just assign partners. And if you're not able to communicate with your partner for whatever reason, you should be able to, still message your peers through Canvas. I believe if you have any issue with that or need their email, you can always email me. But if you have any issue with that, I know some of you may be in high school and actually know um, your peer or partner. But like I said, that there should be a way because I know if there should be a way to with your inbox. I can see you go into your inbox. That'd be a way to communicate. And I'm not quite sure because this is my first time also using um, this this method of or this platform for teaching a 101 um with it, like I said, when we get to the peer revision, I'll just kind of see what do we have any issues, I'll just fix it. And you can always just turn in your own revision worksheet as well. Um, but like I said, we'll have the worksheet and then there will be 3 major revisions. And for those major revisions that you can I'll give you a bonus opportunity to meet with me to talk about your first draft, and you can get up to 10 points back if I see that you have you've implemented whatever we talked about into your paper that at least you've taken some of what I've said and updated your paper. And the same with the tutor.com if you can explain how if you want to resubmit it to tutor.com as well, then you'll get the points, you'll get the extra points back. But yeah, I would like to meet with you about the paper after you write it to discuss it and then you revise it using that feedback. And if you want to combine it with tutor.com again, you could submit it to tutor.com again, and that will help even more. But for the 10 points, you do need to meet with me on Teams on a Tuesday, and I'll give the date for that when we do have the paper due. The first paper will be a multimodal narrative, which it will basically be you focusing on what we're going to be studying the narrative in detail. But for this one, it's not the typical, you have to write about a life event or an experience. But what I like you to do is take your favorite film or book and we'll learn about all the aspects of plot, setting, character, and whatnot. But you could write a sequel to a series or another ending to a book or reinvent part of the plot and you use the same characters even, but and then you'll actually tie in some media into your paper as well, like a video or whatnot you could tie in to explain. And we'll talk about that in more detail too. And then we'll have the next one's a genre analysis. So building on that and the genre analysis will focus on the popular culture theme. So, about the popular culture is actually the genre is kind of actually not as easily defined, but basically, when you think about what popular culture is and current events and pop and film and books that are basically popular in our culture today kind of sums up a lot of the popular culture references. But for this particular assignment that you'll take um, you could take focus on a film or book or media source such as those and explain how it ties into the popular culture genre. And that's basically what you'll be doing for that paper. Um, and you can even, like I said, that's why you can even take a classical work and still connect it to the popular culture genre because you could explain, you'll make connections of the work and say, well, the Pride and Prejudice is written in the 1800s. Well, if we see it again, they actually made, I think it's called Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Anything like that that you can see. There's a lot of adaptation of Shakespeare's plays, like The Taming of the Shrew was the 10 Things I Hate About You. I know that's a film from the 90s, was actually an adaptation of Shakespeare's work. So it's just really interesting if you think about how there's so many influences from literature in our world today. And not just if you could focus on even songs too, but also I gave some examples of television shows like Breaking Bad is one that has a lot of popular culture references in it. There's a lot of other TV series you could connect and even write a paper like on a television show connecting it to that genre, and there'll be a specific way to write it. And then the third paper that we'll write is a thematic analysis on political profiles. And this one will actually be, because as we're going into the election, will be based on you actually finding basically evaluating Facebook political profiles. So you could choose, a political profile to evaluate and looking at the algorithm and whatnot, and actually evaluating Facebook's authenticity and advertising and connecting to that profile. So that will be something that we'll do, and like I said, I've got all the directions and instructions about how to write it, and there is another website that explains thematic. We'll talk a lot about thematic analysis. That's really something that a lot of like psychology majors would probably be using, or sociology, because the themes are not just from literature or something like that. You could you could base it on interviews. You could do a thematic analysis in interviews or surveys, but also an option is profiles on social media. So that's why I thought, well, going into the election, that would be interesting to evaluate political profiles and looking at the algorithm and whatnot, and explaining your findings based on those. And that's basically all that you're doing with that one. And for those three papers, there are outlines, and then a major revision for each of them. And then for there's a research paper on rhetoric and design, and we'll spend quite a while talking about that. And basically that the whole idea of that one is you're really just going to be thinking about throughout this class, whether you think this is rhetoric really declining or not. And then we'll go into more about design and what that means in our world today, in our modern world, and connecting that to rhetoric. But the essential question that you're really going to be focusing on and writing your research paper is whether you believe, whether, like a lot of scholars do write about the decline of rhetoric in our world today, but with design, that would be a way to possibly see rhetoric as still useful, and actually maybe becoming enhanced, depending on your perspective of rhetoric. And so that's what will make that kind of an interesting, debatable paper to write. And the three main papers before the research paper, they're all just 5-paragraph essays and using MLA ninth edition format. And if you have any issues with MLA, that the Purdue OWL, see if I can show you, Purdue OWL is a great resource for MLA formatting. You could just type in your Purdue OWL and it will actually, and I will have the links here and everything, but this is a great resource. If you don't have the Easy Writer, which it's not required that you buy the Easy Writer for this class, that the Purdue OWL is really helpful. I know when you're citing that, I think Scribber, that's one that's good, or EasyBib is another one that students use for help with citations, um, and whatnot as well. And when we get to the research paper, when you use Jeff State's online library, it will cite the information for you. When you click on, there'll be a button and you'll click on it, and it'll actually cite it for you to put in your works cited page, but just make sure it is correct. But essentially, the grade breakdown here is just the 10-point grading system here. 90 is an A, 80 is a B, so forth. And so 10% of the grade will be based on the weekly discussions, 10% weekly quizzes and video assessments, um, paragraph assignments, and mini projects. Those will be every other week or so. That's 20% of the grade. The midterm and final exam. So there's a midterm and final that's just multiple choice, true and false. And with this class, you can take the midterm or the final as many times as you need to. That I'll double check to make sure it has multiple attempts, but don't get discouraged if you for some reason didn't do well, you can go back and retake it, because the main emphasis in this class is on writing. And since this is an online class, that multiple attempts can be allowed and so forth. So just know that it's multiple choice. It is based on the PowerPoints, and the readings. So just studying those PowerPoints and, doing the readings that will help you with the midterm and final exam. And then there's the four major writing assignments. We've talked about those and the three major revisions. So the midterm and final are 20%. The four major writing assignments with an emphasis on media and rhetoric are just 20%, and the three major revisions are 10%. And then there'll be an annotated bibliography, and we'll talk about that. And that's usually once you have some research. And for the research paper, I'm only requiring that you have at least 3 to 4 sources, and it would be good if you had 5, but you really don't have to have 5. You want at least around 3 to 4 sources. And the annotated bibliography is just writing a paragraph evaluating the author's content, and that's usually, that alone is not, like, it usually is a grade booster, because you just are evaluating the articles and explaining how you're going to use it in your paper. And so the total percentage is 100% here. And like I said, that I try to be as thorough as possible so that you don't have to guess about, what to write about and whatnot. And like I said, as long as you're pretty close to how it's supposed to be structured, in terms of writing the paragraph, you always want a topic sentence and a context and a claim, a citation, analysis and conclusion. That's the basics of writing. As long as you are focusing on those things, then you'll do really well in this class, just following those things. And for assignments, you can use a .doc.pdf or a text submission on Canvas. Sometimes when you use the text box, it does something to the format. But I do understand, because I do know that with Canvas, it will actually, like, if you had indented the first line of the paragraph, it will mess it up. So I don't count off points from that. I try my best to point out, concision and grammar, as much as I can, for you to read those comments and try to improve those things. But I do realize if you do use the text box to type in your assignment, then it actually does interfere with the formatting. And I do respond within 24 hours through email. You can even call me on my phone or send me a text message if that's a faster way. If you are having an issue with Canvas or an assignment, that I put my phone number here, 205-914-3529. And if you need to meet, before the Teams meeting, that we can meet at 8:45 p.m., just let me know. If you need to meet prior, you need to meet with me outside of these meetings. And in this course, that our goals are to write well-supported, focused, and coherent essays from development of subject through the revision of the essay, and apply basic reference and documentation skills with an emphasis on ethical use of sources, and demonstrate writing analytical and critical thinking skills. So that's our main objectives. And the late work policy is that, for the four main papers, that for those particular assignments, I am going to be deducting 10% per day missing. For the other assignments, I will be, lenient on those if you turn them in late. But for the four main papers, that you do need to get them in, or there will be points taken off, just because they are the major assignments in the class to work on and submit. And so just making sure to start on those early and whatnot. And when we have these meetings, that you can talk about your papers, what you're writing about, and we'll talk about any questions you have on the Teams meetings when you're writing your papers, or any assignments as well. So the discussions each week, please try to respond to two peers, and just, give them a feedback, and then it makes it more like we're in a classroom by doing the discussions. And Some weeks we may actually, do a discussion live, and if you answer the prompt, yeah, and give you some extra credit if you'd like to do that. I've done that before. If you'd like to actually talk about whatever you've written for that week, and then respond, interact with your peers on Teams, I'll be willing to give you extra credit for that as well. And in this class, I do give quite a bit of extra credit if I see that you are being really thorough with your work. So for example, I know I've given some extra credit already if the student, in the discussion, if they did connect the reading, the writing spaces, and mention Emma Susi is his name. If they mentioned his writing, in the discussion, I gave you some extra credit. If you gave specific illustrations that, you showed me that you were going above and beyond, and giving really specific illustrations, and really describing. So if on there's a discussion on the podcast, reinforce the horse. If you describe that in depth and didn't just move into the next point, I gave 5 extra points. So if I see that you are, really being thorough with your work, and making sure that you are showing that you're doing the readings, in your discussions, and your other assignments, I do give extra credit. Um, and like I said, so far everyone that's turned in their work is doing a great job. And just one of the main things we'll focus really on is, concision and grammar, and also the MLA formatting. The MLA formatting, and so far, for the assignment, there's an assignment due on how to read like a writer, a paragraph, that requires a citation in it. So far, those assignments, everyone's been citing, which is great, and so that is looking good as well. So everyone is doing well in the class, that so far that's been turning in their assignments. Everybody's doing great. Um, and then you plan essays and learn, as well as participate in activities involving the writing process, participate in peer revisions. And like I said, if you do have issues, and I'll just have to see, because this is the first time I've done this with the Canvas, it should give you, a automatic partner for that revision worksheet for the 4 main papers. If you have any issues with that when we get to that point, that won't be for a few weeks. But when we get to that point, if you have any issues, just let me know, and I will assign peers. And if, like I said, if you're not able to get in contact with them, you can just turn in your own revision worksheet. All you do for that is you copy the worksheet onto a Word document, and just you can write how many numbers of mistakes you see or issues, or just put a check or an X or check mark. I've had some students take a picture of, they print it out and take a picture of, and just put the check marks and what the things they look for. And they just uploaded the pictures, but you don't have to do that. You can copy it to a Word document and just put an X or the number of things that you saw to fix, and then give feedback, for yourself or for others. And, obviously the tutor.com will be something extra I'll add into for some potential extra credit as well. And like I said, it's a really good resource that, I know that students that have used tutor.com to turn their papers, they get good feedback. And like I said, it really helps. It really does help to, go to either a writing center, or, using the tutor.com for this being an online class, just to have another set of eyes that look over your work. Because sometimes, after you've been working that hard on a piece of writing, um, you may not be able to see grammar or structural issues with the paper and whatnot. And it's always good to just have someone else read it over. That's why we do the peer workshops. And then with the tutor.com, that's even better. Um, and then students will, need to use Canvas to access readings and submit assignments. And since this is, an online class, that the actual attendance is, um, we're not, I'm not actually taking attendance. Yeah, I may give, like I said, I may be giving some extra credit for teams, participation and coming to teams meetings and things like that. But, with this class, this is online. It's not required that you come to these meetings. It's just to help you. And with the students that before that have come, especially for the research paper or the papers, that I do notice that their grades are, always always good because they're coming to the meetings. And I understand if you're not able to come to the meetings, but if you're not, then just watch the recording. And that's basically all you have to do. Since I'm having an issue with Teams, that I may have to actually upload this to YouTube and then give you the YouTube link, but you will still be able to go back and just rewatch it on YouTube. That I was having an issue with Teams, and I'm logged in now, but I'm sorry I had to change the link to the meeting. Sometimes Teams, I have issues with the links if I make them early. Um, and so we talked a lot about, and then I do have rubrics for the 4 main papers, and that just tells you, how the grade is broken down, like what percent of the grade is format or in content and style, things like that. Um, and if you do have any issues, if you have any health issues or any issues that you are not able to complete your work, you need to take care of yourself and your health first, or if you have a family emergency or crisis, just anything like that, that is something you need to let me know that why you haven't been able to get assignments in. I understand, and I can work with you to come up with a plan to help you make up the work as well. I mean, yeah, this is just kind of an overview. And so the course schedule and it tells you, week by week, what we're doing. So we've already been through week 1. And so put the readings here. Sometimes I add extra readings. So these two are both from Writing Spaces, but every now and then I'll add a reading that's not exactly from Writing Spaces, but it is scholarly, and it does connect to what we're studying. And so if you haven't taken the participation quiz, please do that. Um, because I do have to turn in attendance by tomorrow. And then there's an introduction to the course discussion, and most everyone has completed that. And I was really glad to see that everybody was finding everything, because at first I didn't know how this was going to go with moving from Blackboard to Canvas, but thankfully everything, for the most part, seemed to be everybody was finding the assignments. And then the first discussion, and if you haven't finished that, just make sure you do that. I have put in zeros for the attendance quiz, and the if you hadn't introduced yourself to the class, I have not put in zeros yet for the discussion on rhetoric and social media platforms. And if you do see a zero, if you see a zero, you didn't do something, don't panic, because you can go back and complete it, and I will give you the credit. It's just if you turn in one of the 4 main papers late, points will be deducted. So if it's 1 day late, it's an automatic 90. If it's 2 days late, then it's an 80. That's an automatic 80, and then so forth. But for the other assignments, and like I said, everything, like like I said, if you did get a zero, then you just turn in the work and you will still get credit for your assignment. And it'll just be some points off if it is one of the main 4 main papers. So just know that you don't panic if you do see a zero, that you can still turn your work and get the credit for it. Say if you missed an assignment or something like that. And like I said, you get multiple attempts on quizzes. And if you do need to resubmit an assignment, say you didn't cite an MLA format and you didn't do well on an assignment, you can always fix it, and I will give you the points back. So just know you can fix the assignment if you struggle with MLA format, fix it, resubmit it. And the nice thing about Canvas is with Blackboard, sometimes students would retake quizzes or turn in late assignments, and it would not adjust the zero. With Canvas, once you do turn in the missing work, that zero will go to the correct grade. You don't have to worry about it just sitting there, and for sometimes it would not, even though I thought I'd graded it, it would not fix itself. But with Canvas, it will fix itself. It will correct itself. So you don't have to worry about worrying if you do turn an assignment late, will you get the credit for it? You will get your credit for your assignment. And so yeah, this just kind of maps out and every week. And then when we go to the modules, the way I have the modules laid out, I think I did have a question today about the module for this week. So the module for this right here, module 2, when it says the overview and to-do list, that's just telling you what we're doing. The bulk of what we're doing is right here. So everything that you need is actually in the lesson. This is just going to tell you, an overview of what we're doing, the objectives for this week. We're going to review sentence structure, learn the definition of literacy and strategies of how to write effectively and about a thesis statement. And then this tells you just what we're doing, but I didn't put the links here because everything is actually found in the lesson plan. So the lesson is right here under learn. And here's where I post, this video has to do with the discussion, so you can go ahead and watch that video, and then you'll be ready to answer the discussion after you do the readings. So if you want to go ahead and watch the video first and then do the readings on BUN, and then multimodal literacy and a new area of educational technology, comparing points of views and animations of children's and adult literature. So this is a source that I found, and though it's not from writing spaces, it's still interesting, and it does tie into you the theme of the class, the literacy, multimodal literacy, and media. The multimodal aspect ties into media. And that's why I added it to connect to our theme. So this is the academic part, and then this is still academic, but this is tying into a more specific theme based on connecting Bun to media and whatnot in even more detail, something even more specific, though he does talk about media and strategies for reading. And then the PowerPoints are here. So what you do is you click on the PowerPoint. Um, this is lecture for week 2. So you just click on this, and then you can just click download, and so this is always a good way to do that. And then this slide is on reading, like reading the reading strategies that we are looking at here. The RLW, a strategy for success. So basically that Bun asked a lot of questions about when you are reading an article, does he or she use statistics, quotes from famous people, personal anecdotes? How appropriate or effective is the evidence? These are all things that you want to do. And these are great questions for when you want to mark up an article and you make notes in the margins. And you can do this virtually too on your computers. You could add in comments and make annotations, looking at their language, if it's formal or too informal, and basically that this, like I said, this all just, it really does connect to um, an active reading of the text. And this part of it, I added in the information about that digital literacy. So even when you're thinking about the film The Hobbit versus the book, that there's that really does tie in well, how different scenes are shown or displayed in various ways, but which one can you learn more from or see different perspectives, and from looking at different forms of media. um, and even with this, the where the wild things are, there's a video here, and then I know that the author, well, sorry, the speaker in the video, excuse me, talks about this book and says he actually preferred the book over the film, because the simplicity of the book actually was a little bit more, I guess, it fit the tone better than the film. But like I said, that it's just a different way of viewing the text is these media outlets, that gives us totally different insights into the world of the author And so it's just a different way to explore and, still ask valid questions about the source and um, even the media outlets as well that connect to these particular pieces. And so that is an overview of the PowerPoint here. And then you just go back, close this, and then you would. Um, there's a PowerPoint also posted on a grammar review. And then this PowerPoint is on rhetorical modes and thesis specificity. So basically, this one is just going to help go over those particular tools with you as well. And um, rhetorical modes of writing are really important. Just get familiar with. So this goes over a thesis statement. Of course, it sums up the main idea of the paper, and there are different types of thesis statements that we'll look at as well. There's analytical thesis statements. Are there are just when you look and think of it, just depends on the type of paper, the type of thesis that you'll be writing. An argumentative paper will have an argumentative thesis. Yeah, expository papers. Expository writing is just it's writing about a topic to a scholarly audience, but it's not like breaking down the component of an issue like an analytical paper. Um, and so having a really good thesis statement that's really the foundation of good writing when you're writing a paper. So just make sure to kind of go through this. And then more rhetorical modes of analysis. So there are different types of writing. There's description where you're looking at writing about let's say you were writing about going to the beach and you were describing the waves and the sand and the sun, and then you're giving a lot of visual imagery and auditory imagery and tactile imagery to describe that. So that's actually description. You could write a whole paper about going to the beach, and that would be just an example of descriptive writing. There's a lot of different types of imagery as well. Narration is what we are going to be focusing in on for the first paper. And so narrative, there are different types of point of view in writing. The first person is as typical. There's third person point of view as well, as told by a narrator who is not part of the story. And then there's third person omniscient that then they know everything about the plot. And so basically there's also cause and effect, that you're looking for the reasons why something happened or the results for something happened. So if you're looking at, the reasons for why somebody got in a wreck, then you would look into possible causes for why the driver reasons why the driver might have been impaired or having difficulty, and then the results. What did this do? Did it impact? How did it impact traffic and other things? That's just kind of an example of what cause and effect is. Um, Maybe you're talking about an issue like a major issue. You were thinking about why maybe that Congress passed a bill, the reasons why, and then what are the after effects of this, and that would be an example of cause and effect. Evaluation is also a fun type of writing. So say you're going to a restaurant and you found specific criterion about the and Chinese restaurants, and you have these ideas about what makes a good Chinese restaurant based on the service, the prices, and the atmosphere, and then you just evaluate that experience with those criteria, and that's what an evaluation paper is, that you're just or writing. That's what you're doing, and you can do that for um, retail shopping experiences or movies, anything that you could, going to concerts, things like that. Um, Definition is that you take a word and you clearly define it, and the whole paper, like let's say you want to just write a paper about what friendship means. And so you could actually just write a whole paper on what the definition based on your interpretation of what friendship means or what love means. It's just, really, and you can look at different definitions of that word, but then you're focusing on one main definition. And comparison and contrast, you're comparing and contrasting um, similarities and differences about a topic, um, comparing World War I to World War II, things like that. And then argumentation is when you are um, basically, you have a particular stance about a topic and you're trying to prove a particular point. You've taken a position and you have specific reasons. And so that is in a nutshell kind of sums up the PowerPoints for this week. And then here are the links to the discussion on defining literacy in the 21st century. There is a grammar quiz, and I know I had to go back and, well, the link, I guess the link is still, okay, so I think the link is still messed up on this, and I thought I had fixed it, but it should pop up in your to-do. Has anybody taken the grammar exercise quiz yet?
No, I haven't yet. No.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and so I know that it is because I thought I had fixed it. It is on here though. It is due August 24th. Um, yes, this one right here, quiz on grammar and sentence structure. So I thought I had corrected this, but I for some reason, let me see if I can fix the link here. Um, and this should that I thought, like I said, I thought I had actually. So I realized, looking at it. I don't know how I realized that, but I realized it wasn't working, and then I thought that I had corrected this link, but let me see here. So, okay, quiz on grammar and sentence structure. So this should be it right here, and then save this, and then I want to click the link to make sure it does work, so that you have the correct link here as well. Quiz on grammar and sentence structure. So yeah. And then, like I said, I thought I had corrected that, but that'll take you to it. And you just read the instructions and you take the quiz. And this one, yeah, I don't have a video that goes with this one. Some of them I do have videos that go with it. You can always go to YouTube and just type in grammar and sentence structure and see what comes up and watch a video on it just for a review. But it should be pretty straightforward. I believe this one is just knowing like the correct tense of, subject verb agreement sort of thing. So it just should be a pretty basic review. But if you want to, like, you could always go to Purdue Owl and you could do exercises there before taking the quiz. Look at their grammar review. And then, like I said, I have a PowerPoint that has a grammar review in it. Or you go to YouTube and watch a video on sentence structure. There's one really good, if you need a good grammar review. Um, I didn't end up using this particular, I ended up using this particular YouTube account to do a lot of the video quizzes. Actually, I don't think I used her at all. I know I had some. I know, like I said, I have several video quizzes that are informative, but if you really need a good grammar review, that there is a British girl I think it's called English. I believe that she has a lot of really good. I mean, she explains grammar really good. If you ever want to just check out her channel, and I can put a link when I post this recording too, if you want a good grammar review, that just watching her videos like prepositions, phrasal verbs, and with phrasal verbs and academic writing that you want to avoid phrasal verbs, any sort of wordiness, using one instead of you or we to address your reader. Sometimes even prepositions, anything that's really wordy, you do need prepositions sometimes, but there are times when that just is adding extra words. Um, But, she does it really good if you need a really good grammar review, that I do recommend her channel. And then another one is, I think Cambridge also, Cambridge University. I believe that they have, some good resources. So I'll just, maybe and I may just post links to these too if you want some really good videos just for a good grammar review. I do highly recommend them. And I know I don't, because this class, even though we are doing grammar reviews, it's not, the emphasis is actually on rhetoric and writing, though we are going back and reviewing grammar, that um I guess the emphasis wasn't as much on grammar. And so for that reason that we don't have, I didn't actually use these in the video quizzes. I know I used other, for the video quizzes, I used other, for some of the grammar, I did use other videos from scholars, but I didn't actually use them because I guess I would say these would be more for if you really do just need that, you really need the extra practice. These will be really good. Just basic sentence structure. So actually, this video right here would be great for the quiz, and I will actually just post the link to that after this. If you do want to link, or I may just post this in the quiz or something. I'll at least post it to the discussion, or not discussion, excuse me, the announcement when I post the recording of this. I will put this on the announcement for you to view. I'll post links for the videos. So I really do think that's really helpful. Um, and then there's the paragraph on how to read like a writer that we already talked about, and now we've already spent about an hour. I've already spent about an hour and whatnot. But do y'all have questions? I'm sorry I haven't really stopped to ask you if you have questions.
I don't have any so far.
Okay. Well, I know since it is pretty late now, maybe next time what we can do is start with the discussion. And if you'd like to talk about what you've written about for the discussion, then I will give you extra credit if you'd like to attend the Teams meeting. I'll give you 5 extra points, and you interact with respond to your other classmates and kind of just have a discussion on Teams about the discussion for that week. Um, that would be great. We'll just start that way, but I just wanted to make sure that I went over the syllabus and just all about the class and just kind of an overview. And I look forward to having all of y'all in my class. And your writing is looking really great so far, and everything's been amazing that's been turned in. And I'm glad that y'all were able to find everything too, because I wasn't sure how this was going to go with changing from Blackboard, but I'm really glad that it looks like everyone's finding everything well. And I hope that y'all enjoyed the class. Does anyone have any questions about anything that we went over today or anything?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Well, what I'll probably do is I may have to post this to YouTube